The moment, Zara Sullivan saw the man crouching in the snow, scattering breadcrumbs to a flock of sparrows, while a small child bundled in a too-thin jacket watched with pure delight. Something in her chest cracked open like ice thawing after a long winter. She had been standing at the floor-to-ceiling windows of the downtown coffee shop, her phone pressed to her ear as her marketing director droned on about quarterly projections, when the scene in the park across the street caught her attention. The man wore work boots that had seen better days, jeans with worn knees, and a canvas jacket that barely looked warm enough for the bitter January cold. But his smile as he looked at the child, a little girl who couldn't have been more than 5, radiated more warmth than any luxury heated coat could provide. Zara found herself lowering the phone mid-conversation, her marketing director's voice fading to background noise. She watched as the man lifted the little girl onto his shoulders so she could toss the breadcrumbs higher, laughing when the birds fluttered around them in an excited swirl of wings and chirping. The child's delighted squeal was audible even through the thick glass windows. "Miss Sullivan, Miss Sullivan, are you still there?" Zara blinked, remembering the phone in her hand. "I'll call you back, Derek." She ended the call before he could respond, something she never did. Zara Sullivan, CEO of Sullivan Tech Industries, one of the fastest-growing software companies in the country, did not hang up on her directors. She did not let her attention waver during business calls. She certainly did not stand in coffee shops staring at strangers in parks. Yet here she was, unable to look away. The man set the child down gently, brushing snow from her shoulders with a tenderness that made Zara's throat tighten unexpectedly. He pulled a thermos from a backpack so old the canvas was fraying at the seams and poured what looked like hot chocolate into a small cup. The little girl wrapped both hands around it, her face glowing with happiness as steam rose into the cold air. Zara had grown up with every advantage money could buy. Private schools, Ivy League education, a trust fund that had been her launching pad to building her own empire. She had dated actors, entrepreneurs, even a senator's son. But none of them had ever made her feel what she felt watching this complete stranger care for his daughter with such unguarded love. Before she could talk herself out of it, Zara grabbed her untouched latte and pushed through the coffee shop door into the biting cold. She had left her car and driver 3 blocks away, insisting on walking to clear her head before her afternoon meetings. Now she crossed the street toward the park, her designer boots crunching through the snow, her tailored wool coat suddenly feeling far too expensive and impractical. The man looked up as she approached, his hand instinctively moving to his daughter's shoulder in a protective gesture. Up close, Zara could see he was younger than she had first thought, maybe 30 at most. He had dark hair that curled slightly at the edges beneath a knit cap, strong features weathered by outdoor work, and eyes the color of deep amber that regarded her with cautious curiosity. "I'm sorry to interrupt," Zara heard herself say, her usual boardroom confidence deserting her. I saw you feeding the birds, and I thought." She trailed off, suddenly having no idea what she thought or why she was standing here like a fool. The little girl peered up at her with huge brown eyes. "The birdies were hungry," she announced solemnly. "Daddy says we always share when we have enough." Something in Zara's chest squeezed painfully. "That's very kind of you both." She looked at the man, who was still watching her with that careful expression. "I'm Zara." "Quinn Kendrick," he said after a moment, his voice deep and slightly rough like gravel wrapped in velvet. "This is my daughter, Lily. It's nice to meet you both." Zara crouched down to Lily's level, smiling at the little girl. "How old are you, Lily?" 5.5, Lily said importantly. "The half is very important, Daddy says. Your daddy is absolutely right." Zara straightened, looking at Quinn again. His eyes held a mix of wariness and something else, something that made her pulse quicken. "Do you come here often? To feed the birds, I mean." Quinn's expression softened slightly. "Every Saturday when I'm not working. Lily loves the birds and it's free entertainment." He said it matter-of-factly, without shame, but Zara heard the underlying truth. Money was tight, very tight. "I work construction," Quinn continued, as if reading her thoughts. "When there's work, winter's slow season, but we make do. Daddy makes the best pancakes," Lily added helpfully, "even when we only have a little syrup left." Quinn's jaw tightened almost imperceptibly, and Zara recognized the look. Pride wounded by a child's innocent honesty. She had seen it on the faces of business partners who had lost their companies, on employees she had had to lay off during her company's early lean years. "I bet they're delicious," Zara said gently. Then, before she could second-guess herself, she added, "There's a diner just down the street. Would you let me buy you both lunch, as a thank you?" Quinn's eyebrows rose. "A thank you for what?" "For reminding me what matters." The words came out more honestly than Zara had intended. "I've been so focused on profit margins and market shares lately that I forgot about things like feeding birds in the snow, just because it makes someone happy." Quinn studied her for a long moment, and Zara felt exposed under that amber gaze, like he was seeing past her expensive clothes and polished exterior to something real beneath. "We don't need charity," he said quietly, but without hostility. "It's not charity. It's just lunch between new friends. And honestly, I could use the company." Zara surprised herself with how true that was. "I eat most of my meals alone at my desk or at business dinners where everyone wants something from me. It would be nice to just have a normal meal with normal people." Lily tugged on Quinn's hand. "Can we, Daddy?" "I'm hungry, and they might have grilled cheese." Quinn looked down at his daughter, and Zara watched his resistance crumble. Whatever this man's pride, his love for his child clearly superseded it. "All right," he said, meeting Zara's eyes again. "Thank you, that's kind of you." The diner was warm and smelled like coffee and bacon, a far cry from the upscale restaurants Zara usually frequented. She found she loved it immediately. They slid into a booth with cracked red vinyl seats, Lily bouncing excitedly as she looked at the laminated menu that had clearly been wiped down thousands of times. "Can I get chocolate milk?" Lily asked Quinn hopefully. "We'll see," Quinn said, but Zara could see him calculating costs in his head even though she had offered to pay. "I think chocolate milk sounds perfect," Zara said firmly to the waitress who appeared. "And I'll have a coffee." "Quinn." "Coffee's fine," he said, then to Lily. "What do you want to eat, sweetheart?" "Grilled cheese and fries, please." They ordered, Quinn getting a burger he clearly wanted badly, but had probably been denying himself in favor of stretching their food budget. Zara got a club sandwich she had no appetite for, her stomach too full of butterflies to think about food. As they waited, Lily chattered happily about the birds, about her favorite cartoon, about her friend Maya from kindergarten. Quinn listened with patient attention, interjecting questions that showed he genuinely cared about his daughter's small world. Zara found herself leaning forward, drawn into their easy dynamic. "Do you have kids?" Lily asked suddenly, looking at Zara with those huge, innocent eyes. "No, I don't," Zara said softly. "I never found the right person to have them with. You should find someone," Lily advised seriously. "Kids are really fun." Quinn laughed, the sound transforming his face from guarded to genuinely handsome. "Lily thinks she should have at least 6 siblings." "At least," Lily confirmed. "Then we could have our own basketball team." "Well, that's solid reasoning," Zara said, grinning. Their food arrived, and Zara watched Quinn cut Lily's sandwich into triangles and blow on her fries to cool them before letting her eat. Such small gestures, but they spoke of constant care, of a father who never stopped thinking about his child's well-being. "Where's Lily's mother, if you don't mind me asking?" Zara said quietly when Lily was absorbed in her food. Quinn's expression clouded. "She left when Lily was 6 months old." Said motherhood wasn't what she expected, that she was too young to be tied down. His voice was carefully neutral, but Zara heard the old hurt beneath it. "Signed over her rights and left town. Haven't heard from her since." "I'm sorry." "Don't be. Lily and I do fine on our own. Better than fine." She's the best thing that ever happened to me." He looked at his daughter with such fierce love that Zara felt her eyes prick with unexpected tears. "How do you do it?" she asked. "Balance work and being a single parent?" Quinn shrugged. "You just do what needs doing." "My sister helps when she can, watches Lily when I'm on jobs. Lily goes to afternoon care at the community center on days I work late. It's not fancy, but she's happy, healthy, loved. That's what matters." "You're a good father," Zara said, meaning it with every fiber of her being. Quinn met her eyes, something sparking between them that made Zara's breath catch. "I try. Some days are harder than others, like when she needs new shoes and you're waiting for a paycheck, or when she wants to go to a birthday party and you have to figure out how to afford a present. But she's worth every struggle." They talked for 2 hours, far longer than a quick lunch should have lasted. The diner filled and emptied around them as the lunch rush came and went. Lily eventually climbed into Quinn's lap, drowsy and full, tucking her head under his chin while he absently stroked her hair and continued talking to Zara. She learned he had grown up in foster care after his parents died in a car accident when he was 12. His sister was his foster sibling, the only family he had chosen to keep in touch with. He had been working construction since he was 18, good with his hands, reliable, the kind of guy foremen liked to keep around. He dreamed of maybe starting his own contracting business someday, but with Lily's needs, that was a distant fantasy. In turn, Zara found herself telling him things she rarely shared. How she had built Sullivan Tech from the ground up after her father had bet she would fail, wanting her to marry well instead of pursuing business. How lonely it was at the top, surrounded by people but feeling isolated in her success. How sometimes she woke up at 32 and wondered if she had sacrificed too much of her personal life for professional achievement. "I doubt that," Quinn said, his eyes warm. "You seem like someone who knows what she wants and goes after it. Nothing wrong with that." "Maybe," Zara said. "But sitting here with you and Lily, I realize I can't remember the last time I felt this content, this present. Usually my mind is spinning with 100 different things, but right now, all I'm thinking about is how nice this is." Quinn's gaze intensified, and Zara felt heat rise to her cheeks. There was definitely something happening here, something that went beyond friendly conversation. The attraction was mutual, she was almost certain, but Quinn was holding back. Pride again, she thought, or maybe wariness of the obvious class difference between them. When they finally left the diner, the afternoon sun was already starting to dip toward the horizon, casting long shadows across the snowy street. Lily was fully awake again, energized by sugar and rest, begging to go back to the park to see if the birds were still there. "We should probably head home," Quinn said, but he was smiling. "Just for a few minutes," Lily pleaded. "I could walk with you," Zara offered, then hesitated. "If that's okay, I don't want to overstep." Quinn looked at her for a long moment, then nodded. "I'd like that." They walked back to the park together, Lily skipping ahead, their breath forming clouds in the cold air. The birds were indeed still there, pecking at the snow in search of more breadcrumbs. Lily squealed with delight and ran toward them, sending them scattering in a flurry of wings. "Thank you for today," Quinn said quietly, standing close enough to Zara that she could feel the warmth radiating from him. "For lunch, for the conversation, for not treating us like we're less than because we don't have much." "I would never," Zara said fiercely. "Quinn, you have something I've been searching for my whole life and didn't even know I was missing. Watching you with Lily, seeing how you find joy in simple things, how you love with your whole heart, that's worth more than any amount of money." Quinn turned to face her fully, his eyes searching hers. "You're something else, Zara Sullivan. I can't quite figure you out." "Maybe that's a good thing," she said softly. He smiled, a real smile that reached his eyes and made her knees weak. "Maybe it is." They stood there as twilight fell around them, watching Lily play, and Zara knew with absolute certainty that her life had just irrevocably changed. She had found something precious in that snowy park, something she hadn't even known she was looking for. As darkness finally forced them to part ways, Quinn heading to the bus stop with a sleepy Lily in his arms, Zara pulled out her phone. "Can I get your number?" she asked, trying not to sound as desperate as she felt. "I'd really like to see you again, both of you." Quinn shifted Lily's weight, then recited his number, which Zara immediately saved. "I'd like that too," he said. "But Zara, you should know, I'm not looking for a sugar mama or someone to solve my problems. I take care of my own." "I know that," Zara said. "That's part of why I want to see you again. Because you're real, Quinn, you're genuine, that's rare in my world." He nodded slowly. "Then yeah, call me. We'll figure something out." Zara watched them board the bus, Lily waving at her through the window until they disappeared from sight. Then she stood alone in the snowy park, the cold finally seeping through her expensive coat, and laughed out loud with pure joy. She had gone to a coffee shop to take a business call. She was leaving having met the man she was almost certain she could fall in love with. The next morning, Zara woke earlier than usual, Quinn on her mind before she even opened her eyes. It was Sunday, and she had a mountain of work waiting, contracts to review, investor presentations to prepare. Instead, she found herself texting him. "Good morning. I hope this isn't too forward, but I was wondering if you and Lily would like to have dinner with me this week." The response came 20 minutes later, during which Zara had checked her phone approximately 40 times. Morning. Not too forward at all. "Lily hasn't stopped talking about the pretty lady who bought us lunch. Dinner sounds great. When and where?" They settled on Tuesday evening, and Zara insisted on picking them up, not wanting Quinn to worry about bus schedules or transportation. She spent Monday in a fog, distracted during meetings, signing off on proposals without her usual scrutiny. Her executive assistant, Margaret, finally cornered her in her office. "All right, what's going on?" Margaret demanded. She had worked for Zara for 5 years and knew her better than most. "You're smiling at random moments, and you forgot we had the board call this morning. You never forget calls." Zara looked up from her computer where she had been pretending to read emails while actually looking up family-friendly restaurants. "I met someone." Margaret's jaw dropped. "You what?" "When? How? You literally live at this office." "Saturday, in a park. He was feeding birds with his daughter and Margaret, I've never felt like this before, like everything suddenly makes sense." "Okay, you need to tell me everything right now," Margaret said, pulling up a chair. Zara found herself spilling the whole story, from seeing Quinn through the coffee shop window to their hours-long lunch to the way her heart had stuttered when he smiled at her. Margaret listened with increasing amazement. "You, Zara Sullivan, who once told that movie producer you didn't have time for dating because relationships were a distraction from building empire, are swooning over a construction worker and his kid." "I'm not swooning," Zara protested weakly. "You are absolutely swooning. This is incredible." "When do I get to meet them?" "Slow down. We're just having dinner. It might not even go anywhere." But even as she said it, Zara didn't believe it. She knew, with the same certainty that had guided her best business decisions, that Quinn Kendrick was going to be important in her life. Tuesday arrived with agonizing slowness. Zara left the office at 4, ignoring Margaret's knowing grin, and went home to change. She stood in her walk-in closet for 20 minutes, trying to find something that looked nice but not too fancy. Finally, she settled on dark jeans, a soft cashmere sweater, and ankle boots. Casual but put together. Quinn had given her an address in a neighborhood 40 minutes outside downtown, where the houses were smaller and closer together, where cars in driveways were old but maintained with obvious care. Zara felt her heart rate pick up as her driver navigated the streets, finally pulling up in front of a small bungalow with peeling paint but a neatly shoveled walk. "I'll call when I need you," Zara told her driver, then got out before she could lose her nerve. Quinn answered on the first knock, and Zara's breath caught. He wore dark jeans and a green Henley that brought out the gold flecks in his eyes, his hair slightly damp like he had just showered. He looked nervous and hopeful and so handsome that Zara momentarily forgot how to speak. "Hi," she finally managed, Hi yourself, Quinn said, his eyes warming as they traveled over her. You look beautiful. So do you, Zara blurted, then laughed. I mean handsome, you look handsome. Quinn grinned, some of his nervousness easing. Come in. Lily's been ready since 3, convinced you weren't coming if we didn't start waiting at least 2 hours early. The inside of the house was small but spotlessly clean, furnished with obvious second-hand pieces that had been arranged with care. Children's drawings covered the refrigerator, and toys were neatly organized in bins along one wall. It was humble, but it was clearly a home filled with love. Lily came running from the back room, wearing a dress that was slightly too small but had been pressed carefully. Zara, you came. Daddy said you would, but I was worried you might be too busy being important. Zara crouched down, pulling Lily into a hug. I would never be too busy for you and your daddy. You both are important to me. Over Lily's head, she saw Quinn's expression soften, and something passed between them that made Zara's chest feel too full. They went to a family Italian restaurant Zara had researched carefully, the kind of place with red checkered tablecloths and pictures of Italy on the walls, where families clearly came regularly, and the servers knew them by name. Lily was enchanted by everything, especially when the waiter presented her with crayons and a coloring sheet. This is perfect, Quinn said quietly, looking around. Not too fancy, good food. Thank you for thinking of Lily. I wanted somewhere you would both feel comfortable, Zara said. Where we could just be ourselves. Dinner was even better than their lunch had been. They talked and laughed, Lily showing them her coloring and telling elaborate stories about her kindergarten adventures. Quinn's hand brushed Zara's when they both reached for the bread basket, and the contact sent electricity up her arm. Tell me about your work, Quinn said. You said you run a tech company, but what does that actually mean? Zara explained Sullivan Tech, how they developed software solutions for businesses, specializing in systems that helped companies run more efficiently. She tried to keep it simple, not wanting to bore him, but Quinn listened with genuine interest, asking intelligent questions that showed he was really trying to understand her world. That's impressive, he said when she finished. Building something from nothing and making it successful. That takes guts. Not so different from what you do, Zara said. Taking raw materials and turning them into something useful and beautiful, building things that last. Quinn smiled. I never thought of it that way, but yeah, I guess so. After dinner, they walked to a nearby ice cream shop despite the winter cold. Lily got a cone with rainbow sprinkles that she consumed with single-minded determination, while Quinn and Zara shared a sundae, taking turns with the spoon in a way that felt impossibly intimate. I should get her home, Quinn said reluctantly as Lily started to droop against his side. Past her bedtime on a school night. Of course, Zara said, trying to hide her disappointment that the evening was ending in the car. Lily fell asleep almost immediately, her head on Quinn's lap. He stroked her hair absently, looking down at her with such tenderness that Zara had to look away before she said something too honest, too soon. At his house, Quinn carefully lifted Lily, cradling her against his chest. I'll just be a minute, putting her to bed. Could you wait? I'd like to talk to you without little ears listening. I'll wait, Zara promised. She stood on the small porch, the night air cold against her face, her heart hammering. When Quinn emerged 10 minutes later, he had pulled on a jacket and was carrying 2 mugs. Hot chocolate, he said, handing her one. Thought we could sit out here for a bit if you're not too cold. They sat on the porch steps, shoulders touching, steam rising from their mugs. The neighborhood was quiet, lights glowing in windows up and down the street. Zara, I need to be straight with you, Quinn said after a moment. I really like you, more than I probably should after knowing you for 3 days, but I need you to understand my situation. I don't have much to offer. I'm barely keeping my head above water most months. Lily is my priority always. And dating is complicated when you're a single parent. I know all that, Zara said softly, and none of it changes how I feel. How do you feel? Quinn asked, turning to look at her. Zara took a breath, gathering her courage. Like I've been sleepwalking through my life and suddenly woke up when I saw you in that park. Like every relationship I've had before was practice for something real. Like I could fall in love with you so easily it scares me. Quinn set down his mug, then took hers and set it down too. He reached up, cupping her face in his work-roughened hands. I'm scared too, he admitted. Scared this can't work. Scared you'll realize I'm not worth the hassle. Scared of getting Lily's hopes up. But I can't stop thinking about you. Then don't stop, Zara whispered. Don't overthink it. Just see where this goes. Quinn leaned in slowly, giving her time to pull away, but Zara met him halfway. Their lips touched, gentle at first, tentative. Then Quinn made a sound low in his throat and pulled her closer, the kiss deepening, and Zara felt like she was falling and flying at the same time. When they finally broke apart, both breathing hard, Quinn rested his forehead against hers. Okay, he said roughly. Okay, we'll see where this goes. But you have to promise me something. Anything. If it gets too complicated, if you realize this isn't what you want, you tell me straight. I can handle rejection. What I can't handle is watching Lily get attached and then losing someone else who matters to her. I promise, Zara said solemnly. But Quinn, I don't think you're going to lose me. I think I'm exactly where I'm meant to be. They kissed again, slower this time, sweeter, and Zara knew she was completely, irrevocably falling for this man and his daughter. Over the next month, Zara and Quinn navigated the complicated dance of new relationships. They saw each other twice during the week when Quinn could get his sister to babysit, going to movies and dinners, talking for hours about everything and nothing. On weekends, Zara spent time with both Quinn and Lily, going to parks and museums and the zoo, learning what it meant to date someone with a child. She found she loved it more than she ever expected. Loved Lily's endless questions and enthusiasm for everything. Loved watching Quinn be a father, patient and loving and playful. Loved feeling like part of a unit instead of always being alone, but it wasn't without challenges. Money was a constant unspoken tension. Quinn insisted on paying for dates, despite clearly not being able to afford it. His pride refusing to let Zara cover everything even though she easily could. Zara tried to suggest activities that were free or cheap, but she could see it bothered him that he couldn't take her to the nice restaurants he knew she was accustomed to. Things came to a head 6 weeks after they met. Quinn was supposed to come to a work gala with Zara, her +1 for an evening of networking and schmoozing that she usually hated but felt obligated to attend. She had bought him a suit without asking, having it tailored perfectly to his measurements, and presented it to him 3 days before the event. Quinn stared at the garment bag like it was a snake. You bought me a suit. Just for the gala, Zara said, already sensing this was a mistake. You thought I couldn't afford my own clothes. Quinn's voice was tight. No, that's not. I just wanted you to have something nice for the event. Quinn, it's just a suit. It's not just a suit, Zara. He ran a hand through his hair, frustration clear on his face. It's you making decisions about what I need, spending what's probably thousands of dollars on me like it's nothing. It is nothing to me, Zara said, then immediately regretted it when Quinn flinched. I didn't mean it like that. I just mean I have the money and I wanted to do something nice for you. I know you did, Quinn said, softer now but still tense. But Zara, every time you do something like this, it reminds me of the gap between us. I'm a construction worker who shops at thrift stores and clips coupons. You're a CEO who probably spends more on coffee in a week than I make in a month. How is this supposed to work? I don't know, Zara admitted, tears pricking her eyes. But I know I don't care about the money, I care about you, about us. Quinn pulled her into his arms, holding her tight. I care about us too. So much it terrifies me, but I need to feel like an equal partner, Zara. I need to contribute something. You contribute everything that matters, Zara said against his chest. You make me laugh. You make me feel things I've never felt before. You've shown me what real love looks like through how you are with Lily. That's worth more than any amount of money. They worked through it, Quinn accepting the suit, but insisting on paying for their next 3 dates, even though Zara knew it stretched his budget. She learned to let him have his pride, to accept that for this relationship to work, she couldn't just throw money at problems. Quinn learned to accept her gestures of generosity without seeing them as charity, understanding that her love language was providing and caring for the people who mattered to her. 3 months in, Quinn introduced Zara to his sister, Emma Kendrick, a straight-talking nurse with a no-nonsense attitude and eyes that saw too much. They met at Emma's apartment, where she made dinner while clearly sizing Zara up. "So you're the mysterious Zara who's all Quinn talks about," Emma said, stirring pasta sauce. "The CEO with more money than sense who fell for my idiot brother." "Emma," Quinn warned. "What? I'm just establishing facts." But she was grinning. "Seriously though, Zara, I need to know your intentions. Quinn is the best man I know, and he's been through hell. He doesn't deserve to get his heart broken by someone slumming it with the working class for kicks." "I'm not slumming," Zara said firmly, meeting Emma's direct gaze. "I'm in love with your brother. I know it's fast, I know we're different, but I've never been more sure of anything in my life." The room went silent. Quinn stared at her, eyes wide. "You love me." Zara swallowed hard, realizing she had just blurted out something she had been carefully not saying, waiting for the right moment. But looking at Quinn's shocked, hopeful face, she knew there was no taking it back, and she didn't want to. "Yes," she said clearly. "I love you, Quinn. I love how you put Lily first in everything. I love how you find joy in small things. I love your strength and your vulnerability and the way you make me feel like I'm the most important person in the world when you look at me. I love you." Quinn crossed the kitchen in 3 strides, pulling Zara into his arms and kissing her deeply, pouring everything he felt into it. When they broke apart, his eyes were suspiciously bright. "I love you too," he said roughly. "God, Zara, I've been in love with you since you sat across from me in that diner and looked at Lily like she mattered. Like we both mattered." Emma cleared her throat loudly. "Okay, you two are disgustingly sweet and I approve. Now sit down and eat before my pasta gets cold." Dinner was wonderful, filled with laughter and stories, Emma sharing embarrassing tales from Quinn's childhood that made him groan and Zara laugh until her sides hurt. Afterward, as they were leaving, Emma pulled Zara aside. "Take care of him," she said quietly, "and let him take care of you too. He needs to feel needed." "I know," Zara said, "and I do need him, more than I ever expected to need anyone." Emma nodded, satisfied. "Then I guess you'll do." In the car, Quinn reached over and laced his fingers through Zara's. "That went well." "Your sister is terrifying and I like her very much," Zara said. Quinn laughed. "Yeah, that's Emma. She's always had my back, even when we were kids and I was the new foster kid who didn't talk to anyone for 3 months. She just sat next to me at lunch every day until I finally started talking back." "I'm glad you had her," Zara said, squeezing his hand. "Me too, though right now I'm more glad I have you." That night, after dropping Quinn home with kisses that left them both breathless, Zara drove to her penthouse apartment feeling like she was floating. She was in love. Really, truly, deeply in love for the first time in her life. And miraculously, wonderfully, he loved her back. But she knew challenges still lay ahead, the biggest being Lily. Quinn's daughter clearly adored Zara, asking for her constantly, drawing pictures for her, saving special rocks and leaves to show her. But Zara hadn't talked to her about the relationship, about what it meant that Zara and Quinn were together. A week later, Quinn brought it up. They were at Zara's place for the first time, Lily having fallen asleep on the couch after a day at the aquarium. Quinn carried her to Zara's guest room, tucking her in with practiced ease, then came back to where Zara waited on the balcony, looking out over the city lights. "We need to talk to Lily," he said without preamble. "About us, about what this is and what it might become." Zara's heart hammered. "What do you want to tell her?" Quinn turned her to face him, his hands warm on her shoulders. "That I love you, that you love me, that you're important to both of us and we're seeing where this relationship goes. But Zara, if we do this, if we make this official with Lily, you need to be all in. Because if you walk away, it doesn't just hurt me, it hurts her too. I'm all in, Zara said without hesitation. Quinn, I'm not going anywhere, I promise you that. He searched her face, then nodded. Okay, then let's tell her together. The next morning, they made pancakes in Zara's gleaming kitchen that clearly had never been used for such domestic purposes. Lily sat at the counter, chattering about the seahorses from yesterday, completely at ease in a way that made Zara's heart swell. After breakfast, Quinn caught Zara's eye and nodded. Time. Lily, sweetheart, Zara and I want to talk to you about something, Quinn said gently. Lily looked between them, suddenly serious. Are you guys going to get married? Quinn choked on his coffee while Zara fought back laughter. Not yet, Quinn managed. But Lily, you know how we've been spending a lot of time with Zara. Yeah, because you love her, Lily said matter-of-factly. I heard you tell Aunt Emma. Quinn and Zara exchanged glances. Well, yes, Quinn said. I do love her, and Zara loves me too. And she cares about you very much. So we wanted you to know that Zara is my girlfriend, and we're going to keep spending time together as a family. How do you feel about that? Lily appeared to consider this gravely. Does this mean Zara will come to my dance recital next month? If you want me there, absolutely, Zara said. Okay then. Lily went back to her pancakes like this was no big deal, then she looked up again. Wait, if you're Daddy's girlfriend, does that mean you might become my mom someday? The hope in her voice was so naked that Zara felt tears spring to her eyes. She looked at Quinn, who looked equally emotional. Maybe someday, Zara said carefully. But no matter what happens, I'm always going to care about you, Lily. You're very special to me. Okay, Lily said, satisfied. Can we go to the park later? Just like that, it was settled. Zara was officially part of their lives, and it felt more right than anything ever had. The next few months were a blur of happiness. Zara reduced her hours at work for the first time in her career, delegating more to her management team so she could spend evenings and weekends with Quinn and Lily. She attended Lily's dance recital, where the 5-year-old was enthusiastic if not particularly coordinated, and cheered louder than anyone. She helped Quinn build a bookshelf for Lily's room, her attempts at carpentry making him laugh until he had to take the hammer away before she hurt herself. Quinn, in turn, came to Zara's office occasionally, meeting her for lunch, and she loved showing him around, introducing him to her colleagues. Some raised eyebrows at the construction worker who looked out of place in his work clothes among the suits, but Zara didn't care. She was proud to have Quinn by her side, but reality intruded on their bubble when winter turned to spring. Quinn got a call for a big construction job 2 hours away, steady work for at least 3 months that paid better than anything local. It was too good an opportunity to pass up, meant to build up savings he desperately needed, but it also meant 12-hour days and rare visits home. I have to take it, Quinn said, his face miserable as he explained. Zara, I need this job, I need the money. But it means I'll barely see you or Lily. She'll stay with Emma, go to the after-school program every day, and I'll come home maybe once a week if I'm lucky. I understand, Zara said, though her heart was sinking. No, you don't, because here's the thing. I've been thinking about this for weeks, trying to figure out how to ask. Zara, would you consider having Lily stay with you? Just during the week, Emma would still take her when needed, but you have the space, and Lily loves being with you, and I know you work a lot, but you could adjust your schedule, and I would pay you for her care. Stop, Zara interrupted. Quinn, of course I'll take care of Lily. And you're not paying me. She's not a burden, she's a joy. But are you sure? That's a lot of trust to put in someone you've known for less than 6 months. Quinn took her hands. I trust you with the most important thing in my life. I know you'll keep her safe and loved. And maybe it sounds crazy, but I think this could be good. For you to see what it's really like, day to day, being responsible for a kid. No date nights and fun weekends, but morning routines and homework and scraped knees. If we're going to have a future, You need to know what you're signing up for." Zara understood what he was really saying. This was a test, not a malicious one, but a practical one. Could she handle being a parental figure? Was she ready for that level of commitment? "Yes," she said firmly. "I want this. I want to take care of Lily. I want us to be a family." So a week later, Lily moved into Zara's guest room, which they redecorated together with purple walls and butterfly decals. Quinn left for his job with tears in his eyes, hugging his daughter tight and kissing Zara like he was going off to war instead of just 2 hours away. The first week was an adjustment. Zara learned about morning routines the hard way, oversleeping the first day and having to rush to get Lily to school. She discovered that 5-year-olds were picky eaters and that vegetables required negotiation tactics that would serve well in a boardroom. She sat through her first parent-teacher conference, learning that Lily was bright and social, but had a tendency to talk too much during quiet time. But she also learned the profound joy of having Lily run to her after school, eager to share her day. Of reading bedtime stories and hearing, "I love you," Zara whispered as the little girl drifted off to sleep. Of braiding hair badly but getting better with practice. Of being needed and wanted in a way that had nothing to do with her money or her success. Quinn called every night, FaceTiming with Lily and then talking to Zara after Lily went to bed, their voices quiet and intimate across the distance. "How's it going really?" Quinn asked 2 weeks in. "Be honest." "It's exhausting and wonderful," Zara said. Today, Lily informed me I packed the wrong snack, and she couldn't possibly eat carrot sticks when everyone knows Wednesdays are apple day. But then she made me a card at school that said I was the best almost mom ever. And Quinn, I cried in the middle of my office. Quinn's laugh was warm through the phone. "She's something else, isn't she?" "She's everything," Zara said. "You both are." At work, things shifted too. Zara started leaving at 5 to pick up Lily from after-school care, a radical change from her usual 8 or 9 o'clock departures. She took phone calls from the school nurse when Lily had a stomach ache. She missed a dinner meeting because of a kindergarten art show she couldn't miss, her board noticed. At a meeting in May, one of the older members, Richard Thompson, raised the issue. "Zara, we've noticed your reduced hours and increased absences. While we appreciate your dedication to your personal life, Sullivan Tech needs its CEO present and focused." Zara looked around the table at the 8 faces, all men except for her and one other woman. She thought about the years she had sacrificed everything for this company, the relationships she had missed, the life she hadn't lived. And she thought about Lily's art show, how the little girl had beamed when she spotted Zara in the crowd. "You're right that my hours have changed," Zara said calmly. "I'm no longer working 70 hours a week. I'm working 45 to 50, which is still above standard. And in that time, our profits are up 15% from last quarter. Our new software launch was the most successful in company history. We've signed 3 major new contracts. So respectfully, Richard, my personal life isn't negatively impacting my work. If anything, being happier in my personal life has made me more efficient and focused during work hours." "Still," Richard pressed, "there are concerns about your relationship with this construction worker, about how it looks for our CEO." The room went silent. Zara felt anger flash through her, hot and bright. "I'm going to say this once," she said, her voice deadly quiet. "My personal relationships are none of this board's business as long as they don't affect company performance. Quinn Kendrick is a good, hard-working, honorable man who I happen to love. If anyone has a problem with that, they can take it up with me privately. But I will not tolerate classist attitudes in this boardroom or anywhere else in this company. Are we clear?" No one spoke. Finally, the other woman, Janet Lee, spoke up. "Crystal clear. And for the record, I think it's refreshing to see you living a full life, Zara. The company is stronger for having a CEO who understands work-life balance." The meeting moved on, but Zara felt the shift. She was no longer willing to sacrifice everything for Sullivan Tech. She had other priorities now, and she wasn't sorry about it. That night, she told Quinn about it on the phone. "I basically told my board to shut up about my personal life." "You didn't," Quinn said, sounding torn between pride and concern. "Zara, I don't want to cause problems with your work." "You're not causing problems. You're giving me perspective. Making me realize there's more to life than quarterly earnings and market shares. I have a family now, Quinn. You and Lily, and that matters more than anything else." She heard him take a shaky breath. "I love you so much. I love you too. Come home this weekend. We miss you." "I'll be there," he promised. When Friday evening arrived, Lily was practically vibrating with excitement. She had made a countdown calendar and crossed off every day until her daddy came home. Zara had learned to cook Quinn's favorite pot roast through trial, error, and several panicked calls to Emma. The apartment smelled amazing when Quinn's key turned in the lock. Zara had given him a key 2 weeks ago, another step forward that had felt monumental and right. Daddy. Lily launched herself at Quinn the moment he cleared the door, and he caught her, spinning her around while she squealed with delight over her head. His eyes found Zara, and the look in them made her breath catch. Love, hunger, gratitude, need, all mixed together in a gaze that heated her from the inside. "Hi," he said, setting Lily down and crossing to Zara, pulling her into his arms. "Hi yourself," Zara whispered, then kissed him like she had been wanting to for 3 long weeks. "Gross," Lily announced, giggling. "Daddy, you have to see my room. Zara helped me put up glow-in-the-dark stars, and we can read with a flashlight under the covers like camping." They had dinner together, Lily chattering nonstop about school and her friends, and everything Zara had been telling Quinn piecemeal over the phone, but that sounded different coming from Lily's excited voice. After dinner, Quinn gave Lily her bath while Zara cleaned up, the domestic routine feeling natural and right. Finally, with Lily in bed and asleep, Quinn and Zara collapsed on the couch together. He pulled her against his chest, his arms tight around her. "Thank you," he said quietly. "For taking care of her, for loving her." "I do love her," Zara said. "She's incredible, Quinn, smart and funny and so full of love. You've done an amazing job with her." "I had a lot of help from Emma, and now from you." He tilted her face up, his eyes serious. "Zara, I need to say something, and I want you to really hear me." Her heart started pounding. "Okay. This job, it's going to end in 2 more months, and when it does, I'll have enough saved to not have to take another out-of-town gig for a while. But more than that, I've been thinking about my future, about our future, and I realized something. I've been so focused on not being a burden, on pulling my own weight, that I haven't really thought about what I want my life to look like. I've just been surviving, day to day." "And what do you want it to look like?" Zara asked softly. "I want you," Quinn said simply. "I want us to be a family for real. I want to come home every night to you and Lily. I want to build a life together." "But Zara, I can't do that if I'm constantly scrambling for work, taking whatever job comes along. I need stability, I need a plan." "What kind of plan?" Quinn took a deep breath. "I want to go to school, community college, get my contractor's license, maybe business courses. Start my own company eventually, but that means part-time work for a while, less income. And I can't ask you to support us while I do that. It's not fair." Zara sat up, turning to face him fully. "Quinn Kendrick, you listen to me. We're partners. If you want to go to school, we figure out how to make that work. And yes, maybe that means I contribute more financially for a while, but you contribute in other ways. You take care of Lily, you take care of me, you make our house a home. That's worth everything." "You make it sound so simple," Quinn said, but his eyes were bright with hope. "Because it is simple. I love you, you love me, we want the same things, we support each other's dreams. That's what partnerships are, Quinn." He pulled her back against him, holding her so tight she could barely breathe. "When this job ends, I'm going to ask you something important, and I need you to think about whether you're ready for that." Zara's heart nearly stopped. "Quinn, are you saying—" "I'm not saying anything yet," he interrupted, but he was smiling against her hair. "Just that you should start thinking about it." They spent the rest of the weekend in blissful domesticity. Saturday they went to the zoo, the three of them, holding hands and eating overpriced ice cream and laughing at the monkeys. Sunday they stayed in, Quinn making pancakes while Lily and Zara set the table, then watching movies curled up together on the couch. When Quinn left Sunday evening, heading back to his job site, Zara felt the separation like a physical ache. But she also felt hope blooming in her chest. They were building toward something real, something permanent. She just had to be patient a little longer. The next 2 months passed in a blur. Zara and Lily fell into an easy routine. Work, school pickup, homework, dinner, bedtime. On weekends, they sometimes visited Quinn at his job site, Lily wearing a tiny hard hat Quinn's foreman had gotten for her, beaming with pride as her daddy showed them around. Other weekends, Quinn came home and they played house in Zara's penthouse. Emma became a regular presence in their lives too, stopping by for dinner at least once a week, becoming not just Quinn's sister but Zara's friend. Margaret too integrated into their strange little family unit, babysitting Lily occasionally and becoming fiercely protective of Zara's new happiness. "You've transformed," Margaret told Zara one day, watching her pack Lily's lunch. "I never thought I'd see you cutting sandwiches into flower shapes and packing juice boxes." "Neither did I," Zara admitted, "but here we are. Are you happy?" Zara looked up, meeting her assistant's eyes. "Happier than I've ever been in my life." The construction job finished in mid-July, 2 weeks ahead of schedule. Quinn called Zara with the news, his voice tight with controlled excitement. "I'm coming home," he said. "For good this time, and Zara, I need to talk to you, really talk, just us." Zara's stomach fluttered with nervous anticipation. "Okay, Emma can take Lily Friday night. You and I can have dinner here." The days until Friday crawled by. Zara was distracted and anxious, jumping every time her phone rang. Lily noticed her nervousness, but seemed pleased rather than worried, shooting knowing looks that were far too wise for a 5-year-old. Friday finally arrived. Zara left work early to cook, attempting lasagna from scratch with questionable results. She showered and changed 3 times, finally settling on a simple blue dress that Quinn had once said brought out her eyes. When Emma came to pick up Lily, the little girl hugged Zara tight. "Say yes, okay?" Lily whispered. "Say yes to what?" Zara whispered back. Lily just giggled and let Emma lead her away. Quinn arrived an hour later, carrying a bouquet of wildflowers that must have cost him a fortune at this time of year. He looked nervous, dressed in dark slacks and a button-down shirt, his hair freshly cut. "Hi," Zara said, her voice coming out breathier than intended. "Hi." Quinn handed her the flowers, then seemed to second-guess himself and took them back, setting them on the entryway table. "Actually, before dinner, I need to say something. Quinn, you're making me nervous." "Good, because I'm terrified." He laughed shakily, then took her hands. "Zara, this last year has been the best of my life. You came into my world like a storm, this beautiful, brilliant, generous woman who somehow saw past my circumstances to the man I am, who loves my daughter like she's your own, who makes me want to be better, do better, dream bigger." Tears were already streaming down Zara's face. "Quinn, let me finish," he said gently. "I know we haven't been together that long, less than a year, and I know I don't have much to offer materially. But I can offer you my whole heart, my complete devotion, my promise to love and support you for the rest of my life, if you'll have me." He released her hands and dropped to one knee, pulling a small box from his pocket. When he opened it, Zara gasped. The ring inside was simple but beautiful, a single diamond on a platinum band, modest but perfect. "I saved every penny from that construction job to buy this," Quinn said, his voice shaking slightly. "It's not as fancy as what you probably expected, but it's mine to give you. No borrowed money, no debt, just honest work. Zara Sullivan, will you marry me? Will you be my wife and Lily's mother? Will you build a life with us?" Zara dropped to her knees in front of him, framing his face with her hands. "Yes," she said through her tears. "Yes, yes, 1,000 times yes." "I love you, Quinn. I want to spend the rest of my life with you and Lily. I want everything with you." Quinn's face split into a grin so wide and joyful it made him look years younger. He pulled the ring from the box with shaking hands and slid it onto her finger. It fit perfectly. Then he was kissing her, pulling her against him as they knelt on the floor, and Zara felt like her heart might burst from happiness. They didn't make it to dinner. The lasagna burned in the oven while they sat on the couch, wrapped around each other, kissing and talking and planning their future. Quinn wanted to start school in the fall, get his business degree and contractor's license. Zara wanted a small wedding, just family and close friends. They both wanted to buy a house together, somewhere with a yard for Lily to play in, with room to grow. "We should probably tell Lily," Quinn said eventually, laughing. "Though I have a feeling she already knows. She's been asking me constantly when I was going to propose." "She told me to say yes," Zara admitted, "before she left tonight." "Smart kid," Quinn murmured, kissing Zara's temple. "She knew before I did that you were the one." They called Emma, who shrieked with delight and promised to bring Lily home in the morning so they could tell her together. Then they called Zara's parents, who she had introduced to Quinn 2 months ago. Her mother cried happy tears while her father, who had initially been skeptical of Quinn, offered his sincere congratulations and welcome to the family. That night, wrapped in Quinn's arms in her bed, their bed now, Zara reflected on how completely her life had changed in less than a year. She had gone from a workaholic CEO who ate meals at her desk and went home to an empty apartment, to a woman engaged to the love of her life, preparing to become a stepmother, fundamentally altered by the power of love. "What are you thinking about?" Quinn asked sleepily, his hand tracing patterns on her shoulder. "About how I almost missed this," Zara said. "If I hadn't looked out that coffee shop window at exactly the right moment, if I hadn't followed my instinct to cross the street and talk to a complete stranger. I could have missed you entirely." "But you didn't," Quinn said firmly. "You found me. We found each other. That has to mean something." "It means everything," Zara whispered. The next morning, they picked up Lily from Emma's apartment. The little girl took one look at Zara's hand and screamed with excitement. "You said yes. You're going to be my mommy." "If that's okay with you," Zara said, crouching down to Lily's level. Lily threw her arms around Zara's neck. "It's the most okay thing ever. I've been wishing for a mommy for forever, and now I get you. Can I call you Mom?" Zara's eyes filled with tears. She looked up at Quinn, who was wiping at his own eyes, and then back at Lily. "I would be honored if you called me Mom." "Mom," Lily tested it out, then grinned. "Mom, Mom, Mom. I have a mom. Meyer at school has a mom, and now I have one too." They spent the day celebrating, going to Lily's favorite pizza place, and then to the park where Zara and Quinn had first met. It was summer now instead of winter, the trees full and green, children playing on equipment that had been covered in snow that day 9 months ago. They fed the birds again, the 3 of them, and Zara felt the circle complete. The wedding planning began in earnest. Zara wanted to do it quickly, not seeing the point in a long engagement when she knew exactly what she wanted. Quinn agreed, eager to make their family official. They settled on a September wedding, giving them 2 months to plan. Zara's business contacts offered to arrange elaborate venues and celebrity caterers, but she declined. Instead, they chose a small garden venue outside the city with capacity for 50 guests. Just family, close friends, people who really mattered. Emma would be maid of honor, Lily the flower girl. Margaret would handle logistics with the same efficiency she brought to running Zara's office. Quinn's best friend from his construction crew would be best man. There were bumps along the way. Zara's father, who had made his peace with the engagement, tried to insist on paying for an expensive wedding. Quinn bristled at the implication they couldn't afford it themselves, and there was a tense dinner where feelings were hurt on both sides. Zara mediated, finally getting both men to understand the other's perspective. "Dad, Quinn isn't trying to take advantage," she explained to her father privately. "He's proud and he wants to contribute. You trying to take over makes him feel diminished." To Quinn, she said gently, My father loves me and wants to give me a nice wedding. It's not about you not being good enough. It's about him wanting to be part of this." They compromised. Zara's parents paid for the venue and flowers. Quinn and Zara covered everything else. Everyone's pride stayed intact. As summer turned to fall, their life together solidified. Quinn enrolled in community college, taking night classes in business and working construction during the day. Zara adjusted her work schedule to be home with Lily on the evenings. Quinn had class. They looked at houses, finally finding a perfect craftsman-style home in a family-friendly neighborhood with good schools, with a huge yard and a porch where they could watch Lily play. Zara sold her penthouse with only a twinge of nostalgia. It had been a monument to her success, but never a home. The new house, with its lived-in feel and space for a family, felt right in a way the sleek penthouse never had. They moved in 3 weeks before the wedding, spending weekends painting Lily's room purple with clouds on the ceiling, setting up Quinn's small home office for his studying, creating a space that was theirs. Emma helped, along with Margaret and several of Quinn's construction buddies. There was laughter and paint fights and pizza shared on the floor because they hadn't unpacked the table yet. "This is perfect," Quinn said one evening, standing on the porch with Zara, watching the sun set while Lily chased fireflies in the yard. "Our house, our family. Sometimes I still can't believe this is real." "It's real," Zara assured him, lacing her fingers through his. "In 2 weeks, it'll be even more official." The wedding day dawned clear and beautiful, the September air crisp but not cold, the garden venue blazing with fall colors. Zara got ready with Emma and Margaret and her mother, feeling surprisingly calm. No wedding day jitters, just certainty and joy. Her dress was elegant but simple, flowing ivory silk that made her feel beautiful without being ostentatious. Lily wore a matching flower girl dress in pale purple, spinning in front of the mirror with delight. Emma wore navy blue as maid of honor, sophisticated and lovely. "You ready for this?" Emma asked as they prepared to line up for the processional. "I've never been more ready for anything," Zara said honestly. The ceremony was perfect. Zara walked down the aisle to where Quinn waited, looking devastatingly handsome in his suit, his eyes locked on her with such love she nearly stumbled. Lily preceded her, tossing rose petals with enthusiastic abandon, making the small gathering of guests laugh. They had written their own vows. Quinn went first, his voice steady despite his obvious emotion. "Zara, you walked into my life when I had given up on finding love, when I thought my life was just about surviving and raising Lily as best I could. You showed me there was more, that I deserved more. You love my daughter like she's your own. You support my dreams even when they're impractical. You see the man I want to be and help me become him. I promise to love you fiercely, support you always, and spend every day trying to deserve the gift of your love. You and Lily are my whole world, and I'm honored to be your husband." Zara was crying before he finished, and she had to take a moment to compose herself before she could speak her vows. "Quinn, the first time I saw you, feeding birds in the snow with your daughter, I knew my life was about to change. I just didn't know how completely. You've taught me what really matters. Not success or money or status, but love, family, connection. You've given me Lily, the daughter of my heart if not my body. You've given me a home, not just a house but a real home filled with laughter and love. I promise to love you and Lily with everything I have. To support your dreams as you support mine. To build a life together based on mutual respect, partnership, and endless love. I'm so proud to become your wife." When the officiant pronounced them married, Quinn pulled Zara into his arms and kissed her deeply, and their gathered friends and family erupted in cheers. Lily jumped up and down, shrieking they're married. "My mommy and daddy are married." The reception was joyful and intimate. Good food, heartfelt toasts, dancing under string lights as the sun set. Quinn's best man told embarrassing stories about early days on construction sites. Emma revealed childhood tales about both Quinn and Zara. Margaret cried through her entire speech about watching Zara fall in love. But the best moment was when Quinn and Zara danced their first dance as husband and wife, Lily wedged between them, insisting she had to be part of it. The three of them swayed together, and Zara realized this was what happiness looked like. Not a fairy tale with princes and castles, but real love with a good man and his incredible daughter, building a life together one day at a time. Later, after the reception ended and they had said goodbye to their guests, the three of them went back to their house. Lily was asleep before they got her into her pajamas, exhausted from excitement. Quinn and Zara tucked her in together, then stood in her doorway watching her sleep. "Mrs. Kendrick," Quinn said softly, testing out Zara's new name. "Mr. Kendrick," Zara replied, grinning. He pulled her down the hall to their bedroom, closing the door behind them. "I love you," he said, framing her face with his hands. "I'm going to spend the rest of my life making sure you never regret this." "I could never regret this," Zara said. "You're the best thing that ever happened to me." You and Lily both. They made love slowly, sweetly, sealing their commitment with physical connection. Afterward, wrapped in each other's arms, Zara felt complete in a way she never had before. The months that followed were full of adjustments. Learning to truly live together, navigating the challenges of being a blended family. Zara formally adopted Lily in November, a process made easier by the biological mother having signed away her rights years ago. The day the adoption was finalized, they had a small celebration at home, just the three of them, and Lily's new birth certificate listing Zara as her mother was framed and hung in the living room. "Forever family," Lily declared, pointing at the certificate. "We're forever now." "We were always forever," Zara said, pulling her daughter into her arms. "But yes, now it's official." Quinn continued with school, his natural intelligence and work ethic making him a star student despite having been out of education for over a decade. Zara supported him through late-night study sessions and exam stress. He supported her through challenging times at work, board meetings that ran long and product launches that didn't go as planned. They learned to fight productively, to communicate their needs, to navigate the normal conflicts that arose in any marriage. Quinn still struggled sometimes with accepting help, with letting Zara contribute financially without feeling like he was taking advantage. Zara sometimes forgot that not everyone wanted to solve problems by throwing money at them. But they worked through it, committed to making their marriage strong. A year after their wedding, Zara surprised Quinn with the news that she was pregnant. She had gone off birth control months earlier with his knowledge, both of them wanting to give Lily a sibling, but she hadn't expected it to happen so quickly. Quinn's reaction was everything she could have hoped for. He picked her up and spun her around, laughing and crying at the same time, then immediately set her down and apologized for spinning a pregnant woman. Lily was ecstatic, already planning what toys she would share with the baby and insisting it should be a sister because boys are sometimes gross. The pregnancy was uneventful, and Zara worked until 2 weeks before her due date, finally accepting she needed to slow down. Quinn and Lily doted on her, bringing her water and cushions, Quinn rubbing her swollen feet every evening while they watched TV. Their son was born on a warm spring evening, after a labor that was mercifully short. Quinn was there the entire time, holding Zara's hand, coaching her breathing, cutting the umbilical cord with tears streaming down his face. They named him Jason Quinn Kendrick, and Lily declared him the best baby brother ever, even though he couldn't play yet. Watching Quinn hold their newborn son, his face full of wonder and love, Zara reflected on how far they had come. From that moment in the snowy park to this, a family of 4, married and happy and building a life together. It had been less than 2 years, but it felt like they had always been meant for this. As Jason grew, Lily proved to be an amazing big sister, patient and loving and protective. Quinn completed his degree and got his contractor's license, starting to build his client base for the contracting business he wanted to start. Zara found a better balance at work, delegating more and trusting her team, making sure she was home for family dinners and bedtime stories. 2 years after Jason's birth, they were surprised by the news that Zara was pregnant again, this time with twins. Girls, the ultrasound revealed, and Lily was vindicated in her preference for sisters. Quinn joked that they were trying to fill the house with enough kids for that basketball team Lily had wanted. The twins, Sophia and Grace, were born healthy and loud, immediately adored by their big siblings. The house was chaotic with 3 young children, but it was also full of laughter and love and life. Emma was a constant presence, the favorite aunt who spoiled her nieces and nephew. Zara's parents were devoted grandparents, having fully accepted Quinn into the family and loving their diverse set of grandchildren. On a cold January morning, 5 years after Zara and Quinn had first met, they found themselves back at that same park. Lily was now 10, responsible and mature, helping carry Jason, who was 3 and energetic. The twins were 1, bundled in a double stroller, watching everything with wide, curious eyes. "Remember this place?" Quinn asked, pulling Zara close as Lily scattered breadcrumbs for the birds, Jason helping by throwing more bread than the birds could possibly eat. "I remember everything about that day," Zara said. "I remember seeing you and thinking my life was about to change. I just didn't know how much." "Better or worse than you expected?" Quinn teased. Zara looked around at their children, at the family they had built together. At Quinn, still as handsome and good as the day she met him, now her husband, her partner, her everything. At the life they had created through love and commitment and hard work. "Better," she said firmly. "So much better than I could have ever imagined." Quinn kissed her temple. "Even with the sleepless nights and the chaos and the fact that our house always smells faintly of diapers." "Even with all of that," Zara confirmed, laughing. "Because it's ours, Quinn. This messy, imperfect, wonderful life is ours, and I wouldn't change a single thing." "Not even meeting a broke single dad feeding birds in the snow?" Quinn asked. "Especially not that," Zara said, turning in his arms to kiss him properly. "That was the best moment of my life, the moment everything began." Later, as they walked back to their car, their family surrounding them, Zara reflected on the journey that had brought them here. From CEO and struggling single father to partners, spouses, parents building a life together. It hadn't always been easy. There had been challenges and adjustments and moments of doubt. But through it all, the love that had sparked that snowy January day had sustained them, growing deeper and stronger with each passing year. She had found her soulmate in the most unlikely place, in the most unexpected way. And she had discovered that true wealth had nothing to do with bank accounts or business success. True wealth was measured in love given and received, in children's laughter, in a partner who stood beside you through everything, in a family built on foundation of mutual respect and endless devotion. As they drove home, the car full of chatter and occasional squabbles, Quinn reached over and took her hand. No words needed, just that connection, that reminder that they were in this together. Always. And Zara, who had once thought she had everything, realized she had been so wrong. She hadn't had anything that mattered until that moment in the park when she had watched a man feed birds with his daughter and decided to be brave enough to cross the street and introduce herself. That single decision had given her everything. Absolutely everything. Years later, when their children were grown and starting families of their own, Quinn and Zara would return to that park every January, feeding the birds together in the snow, remembering and celebrating the moment their lives had intersected and changed forever. The moment a CEO and a struggling dad had found each other and built something beautiful, enduring, and infinitely precious. A love story for the ages, not despite their differences, but because of them. Because sometimes the person you need most is the one you least expect to find. And sometimes, love shows up in a snowy park with breadcrumbs and birds and a 5-year-old's delighted laughter, waiting for you to be brave enough to claim it.